Meurig Raymond, Deputy President of the NFU. We've been talking about animal welfare today and the disparities between the welfare standards that UK farmers adhere to and the welfare standards that they adhere to elsewhere in Europe in particular and elsewhere. Can you give us a clear example of where UK farmers go over and above the sort of welfare standards that they achieve in Europe?
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say how proud I am to represent English and Welsh farmers, and the quality, the standards that we do sort of adopt on as far as animal welfare is concerned is probably the highest in anywhere in the world. But I think of our egg producers who have invested up to £400 million in the last 18 months to come up to the Welfare of Laying Hens directive. And now I hear that some of our sort of colleagues in Europe are asking for derogations to have the sort of starting date put back. They're looking for derogations. So there could well be issues where the huge investment that's been made by British egg producers, we could see eggs coming into the UK that will be produced through the old battery cage system, undermining our market, and that is grossly unacceptable and unfair.
And what sort of message have you had from the European Commission about this sort of practice happening?
The message today has been quite clear that they are determined to stamp out the ability for they want to sort of prevent any derogations being allowed to some of these member states, and secondly they're saying they're not going to allow eggs to move freely around Europe from the old sort of battery cage system. So again, we await their announcement and their decisions in the next few weeks.
Because you're going to have some angry farmers on your hands if farmers in the UK have spent, as you say, hundreds of millions of pounds to adhere to these regulations, and if we end up importing eggs that have been produced that haven't adhered to the regulations, how hard are you pushing the Commission at the moment?
I can assure you we're pushing extremely hard. That our members are extremely concerned with the money that they have invested. And if these eggs do come into the UK market, or third country eggs come into the European Union, then it makes makes those producers in the UK totally uncompetitive. And with that huge investment costs as well attached to their businesses, it's going to be very, very difficult for those people to survive.
You also mentioned the pig industry, which has been decimated in recent years in the UK. Can you explain why that's the case?
Well, it just highlights that you do not want to be the first off the starting blocks, and when the stall and tether directive was brought in the early 90s, the UK government was the first government to implement the banning of stalls and tethers across Europe. The rest of Europe are only going to have to operate this ban from the 1st of January 2013. So the decision was made by UK government, a lot of money invested. The production costs became uncompetitive, and in the process we have seen a huge reduction in the sort of pig breeding herd in the UK over the last sort of 14 years. It's got dropped by over 36%. So basically what we have done is exported our pig industry to other parts of the world where the welfare standards are not as high as are in the UK. So to me it's a bit of a hypocrisy when people actually sort of move ahead of our competitors in a particular sector.
So what's the solution for the poultry industry and for the pig industry? Should we wait until other European countries implement these welfare measures, or should we make sure that that all of the products that we introduce into the UK are to exactly the same standards that we produce?
Well, as far as the egg sector is concerned and the enriched cages, our members have actually made the investment. So I think it's going to be about enforcement, and I would hope that the Commission will have some teeth on this one and insist that eggs for sale across the European Union must come from enriched cages, from the free range systems that there are. So it's about enforcement. And I think these people need to actually sort of understand the reality of life, that you cannot expect people to invest huge sums of money and then be disadvantaged in the marketplace through a different type of system which can be done in a more competitive manner.